The name HTC Mobile, fully known as High Tech Computer Corporation, which brought leading innovation in smartphone devices and designs to put personal computers in the palm of its customers' hands. An evolution from physically large sets to a handheld device that works by a touch of a finger. This pursuit of brilliance is the core of corporates, based on inspiring best-in-class design, followed by game-changing mobile experiences for its consumers around the globe. While HTC's pursuit of brilliance is the impulse to create, to embark into the unknown with a firm dedication to bring innovative design to life, pushing itself to vast limits to reimagine new ways to connect the world, its consumers, and never before thought possible ways of their pursuits. Backtrack to HTC in its days of glories. The phone back then was a masterpiece. They were equipped with the trio of look, feel, and performance, one of a kind endorsed by its consumers. The underlying fact is that HTC understood design and attention to detail, while those who owned one absolutely loved it. HTC was a more influential player in the smartphone market. The phones were similar to the old-school traditional Apple methodology, but in the Android world, bringing in the first ever Android phone. They also designed Google's Nexus devices. Moreover, at one point, they were the largest Android manufacturer and smartphone vendor in the United States, even more massive than Apple. But as of today, their last mark on the smartphone industry was in May of 2018, provided by complete vanish from public's consciousness. A flashback to the time before Samsung phones were in full swing along with the plethora of Android devices, a time when mobile space was different. As opposed to its current conditions, HTC has seen a glorious past. One of the first manufacturers to provide a dedicated physical key in a phone, named HTC Cha-Cha. Later, it also released HTC, initially known as the Facebook phone. A wildly innovative company and one of the first to experiment with increasing the sensor size in the camera lens, catering to better night photography by allowing 300% more light in camera for its facilitation. Let us stress that it was HTC, not Apple, that introduced metal unibody design to the world, eventually after which the US tech giant went on to copy in their upcoming smartphones. Keeping in view how HTC introduced the first Android phone ever was 2008 when HTC decided to release the infamous Dream, also known as T-Mobile G1. Holding its firm grip on the smartphone market was a glorious time when even Samsung could not compete with HTC. By 2009, HTC's market share scored 6% of the whole world with the help of its first Android release. One of the greatest achievements that the company could grasp in consideration to its major competitors, Windows Mobile, Palm OS, and of course, the iOS. In the following year of 2010, HTC once again stunned the world with its first commercially available 4G phone, the Evo 4G, which brought an uproar in the tech world. The addition of the 4G suffix to the phone's name indicated that HTC was a company aiming to build smartphones for individual networks, leading to expansion of options regarding both software and hardware configurations of phones to be introduced, followed by HTC pairing up with Google to make the Google Nexus 1, which was a head start for the Google smartphone ecosystem, to the much anticipated Google Pixel 3. According to Counterpoint Research, this resulted in a massive success where HTC reached 10% of the global market share, the highest ever recorded by the company. Again in 2013, HTC sold 5 million units of its beautifully crafted premium flagship, the One M7, with all the tweaks one could think of. At that time of initial splurge of such high tech, including features like a premium metal unibody design, boom sound dual front-facing speakers, an improved camera, an IR blaster, and a 1080p crisp display resulting in a grand hit phone. Regardless of how great the HTC One M7 was, the company couldn't carry forward its success, which resulted in a sudden immense flop, followed by the release of the One M8. Where in 2012, HTC was one of the top 5 companies as per IDC, while by 2014, the company wasn't even in the top 10 manufacturers. From 2009 to 2013, HTC's strategy was silently exquisite. They were maintaining their quality while around the same time Samsung was part of a campaign of mocking their rivals, Apple, in their advertising, which proved to be a classic and thrust Samsung into the spotlight. It inflamed a war between Apple and Android users so large that it only started to fade just a few years ago. By 2009, HTC's market shrunk from 67% to 37%, while Samsung's market grew more than fivefold, from 4 to 27%. Followed by greater growths were observed by Samsung and Android while HTC stood still. HTC was at a disadvantage due to its naming as well. Yves Mattia took over as CEO by the end of 2019. He remains optimistic about the future of the company. HTC, once the largest smartphone vendor in the US and Android producers globally, a comprehensible rise faced an unimpressive fall similarly. From weak marketing to poor business choices, to scattered management and confusing naming. The ultimate story of HTC perceived is that in the modern world, silently exquisite is not enough for a brand. Rather, the modern world revolves around the noisy and loud, with a quiet brand can never achieve to make great products. Standing still while letting the competitor surpass does nothing but allow the quality to speak for itself. Could we call this the end of HTC phones? Or, last year the company stated they were going to be making 5G phones. Will they make their consumers wait, or will they still abide by their old ways of being silent and brilliant is yet to be known. So what do you think? Will HTC ever see the daylight again with its glory back, like the return of Nokia?